Hello and welcome back to Heal with Solara. My name is Elise and today I'll be guiding you through a Hatha yoga flow for the head, neck and shoulders. Let's get straight into it. If you need to take a break at any point, you can come into a child's pose or lie down on your back. We're going to start in a comfortable seated position and, if comfortable, slowly closing down the eyes and gently bringing the awareness towards the breath. And we're going to send the breath down into the diaphragm. I welcome you to place your hands on your lowest rib, which sits just above the diaphragm. And we're just keeping our natural breath rhythm flowing in and out through the nose. Then we're going to move into some seated cat-cow. So as we inhale, we're opening the chest, and as we exhale, we're tucking the chin and curling the spine. And just keep this moving in your own natural breath rhythm. So as you inhale, we open the chest, and exhale, curl the spine, tuck the chin. Slowly warming up the muscles around the front and back of the neck, as well as warming up through the scapula and the thoracic spine. One more round here, and then we'll meet back in our comfortable seated position. From here, we're moving into some neck circles. You can take this intuitively, so moving at whatever rhythm suits you, holding and pausing in certain positions that you need a little extra stretch. And then changing directions with those neck circles. And then slowly returning your head back to a normal seated position, we're moving into a breathing exercise called the bee breath. So what this aims to do is to warm up through the throat chakra, but also you might feel it in the upper chest around the collarbones. We're going to take an inhale through the nose, and as we exhale, we're making a humming sound with a closed mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. Allowing the breath to settle, and then slowly coming back to your normal breath rhythm. I welcome you to place a hand on the heart and a hand on the belly, closing down the eyes and just taking a moment to check in with how the body's feeling. Then slowly making our way into a seated butterfly position. Bring the soles of the feet together, interlace the hands around the feet, and then pull the chest with a flat spine towards the feet. Here you might notice an opening throughout the inner hip, the adductors, but also through the back of the neck if you tuck the chin towards the chest. From here, we're gently going to bring some movement to the head, bringing ear to shoulder, right ear to right shoulder, left ear to left shoulder, kind of like this sweeping motion. You may notice a lengthening through the upper trapezius muscle that sits on either side of the neck. One more breath here. Now to go a little bit deeper in my seated butterfly, I'm scooting my feet a little bit further forward and then tracing the palms face down underneath the ankles. And then I'm going to tuck my chin towards my chest and bow the head down. And you might notice an even deeper opening throughout the scapula, but also again throughout the back of the neck. And if it feels okay for the head and neck, then you can also gently bring the head side to side in that swaying motion. Slowly crawling our way back upright to a seated position, we're going to move into our mermaids. Bringing my feet to the side, I'm going to plant the opposite forearm and reach overhead into the side body as I inhale. And then as I exhale, I'm going to trace over to the other side. Before planting that arm behind my pelvis, inhale, lifting up and sweeping a circle motion in the sky. And as I exhale, I'm lowering down. Inhale, drawing a big circle in the sky, opening through the chest, and exhale, lower. Then you're going to take the outside thigh and wrap it around the opposite, and we're going to twist open for shoelace. I'm bringing opposite elbow to the outside of the knee, and I'm using my breath to slowly go a little bit deeper into that twist. 2 more breaths here. Slowly coming out of your shoelace, we're going to do our mermaids on the other side. So take the feet to the other side of the mat, plant the opposite forearm, and breathe into the side body as we inhale. And then as we exhale, we'll stretch to the other side. Before making our way into our mermaid spirals, inhale, draw a big circle in the sky, and exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift, open up the chest, and exhale, lower. Last one. And exhale, lowering down. Then we're going to take the outside thigh and wrap it around for our shoelace on the other side. Opening your chest, and always through our rotations, I like to cue using your chest to rotate rather than the eye gaze or the head. 2 more breaths here. And then making your way back to center, we're going to step into our tabletop position. From tabletop, we're going to sit the hips back and trace the hands forward for a wide-legged child's pose. We're going to stay here for 3 breaths. And with each exhale, can you crawl your fingertips 1 more millimeter to the top of the mat, creating length from the crown of the head all the way down to the tailbone. On your next inhale, we're going to crawl the hands over to the right for our lateral child's pose. Can you breathe into the left side body? And then on your next inhale, walking the hands over to the left, and we'll do the exact same on the opposite side. Can you breathe into the right side body? We're here for 3 breaths. On your next inhale, walk your hands back to center. We're going to stack the forearms, rest the forehead down, and lengthen through the belly for our puppy pose. The purpose of our puppy pose is to stretch throughout the lumbar spine, option to also extend the arms out if the shoulders allow. And this posture, we're also lengthening through pelvic floor. So if you know how to connect with your pelvic floor muscle, I encourage you to use your inhale to lengthen and your exhale to gently contract that muscle. And then we will make our way into our tabletop position, preparing for our cat-cows. As we inhale, we're going to open the chest and lift the eye gaze, creating a little bend in the lower spine. And then as we exhale, we're going to tuck the chin and tailbone and push away through the palms. And now just using your own breath rhythm, inhaling as you open the chest and exhaling as you round the spine. We've got about 3 more rounds. I've also been shifting my pelvis left and right, so wiggling the tailbone or moving forwards and backwards in the lumbar spine, so that's an option as well. Then we are moving into our disco cat, which looks a little bit like this. We're kind of doing some hip circles. We are cat cowing the spine, rolling out through the wrists and the shoulders, whatever feels good. I encourage you to close down the eyes if this feels maybe a little bit strange for you, and really just tune into the body. And now I'm making my way into a mobility flow called Child's Pose to Cobra, and it's exactly how it sounds. So we're moving from a child's pose into a cobra position. And the purpose of this one is to move in a rhythmic, circular, flowy motion to articulate the spine and pre-activate the muscles in the shoulder and the hip. Good, and now this version is a little bit trickier. We're going to reverse the movement. So we're going from almost like a push-up movement back into a child's pose and then rippling the spine forward into a cobra. Slowly make your way back into a tabletop position, and we're preparing for our bird dog. For your bird dog, you are welcome to keep the hand and foot planted at the top of the mat. And if you want the full progression, then we're going to lift that arm and leg. And I want you to imagine you've got a glass of water balancing just above the pelvis, especially during that weight shift in the lower body. And the purpose of our bird dog is warming up through the oblique muscle groups that sit on the front and back of the body. It's also great for warming up through our deep core. Make sure to keep your eye gaze just in front of the fingertips, no further than the top of the mat. You have 4 more reps here. And making our way back into tabletop, moving into our thread the needle. Inhale, lift the right palm up to the sky. Exhale, twist with the chest. And we're going to do 3 of those. So as we inhale, we lift. Exhale, we're going to hover the elbow. Last one, inhale, lift. And exhale, now you can rest on that right shoulder. Option to bring the left hand behind the lower back and then further twist that left shoulder up towards the sky. We are here for 3 breaths. Slowly plant the right palm, coming back to tabletop, and we'll do the same on the other side. So as we inhale, lifting the left palm up to the sky, and we'll do 3 threads as we exhale, twist. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, hovering that elbow. We've got 1 more. Inhale, reaching up. And then on your next exhale, we can rest on that left shoulder. Option to bring the right hand behind the lower back, and then you can twist that right shoulder open a little bit more if it allows. You are here for 3 breaths. Gently making our way back to tabletop position. And from here, we're pushing the hips up and back for our first downward face dog. For my downward face dog, my hands are a little bit wider than the shoulders and the fingers are spread open like sunshine. I can take as much of a bend in the knees as I need, and I'm flattening through the spine, pushing my chest towards my thighs. We can pedal the feet up and down. We can take some big crouches in the knees, warming up through the quadricep group. On your next inhale, bring your eye gaze to the top of the mat and jump the feet between the hands. Wiggle the feet to the outside of the mat for our ragdoll. We're going to grab opposite elbow, and if it feels okay for the head and neck, we're going to rock left and right, stretching throughout the posterior body. Making our way back to center, walk the feet back to hip width apart for 3 half lifts. Inhale, flatten the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, open the chest. Exhale, forward fold. Last one, inhale, half lift. And exhale, forward fold. Now, as if you're 100 years old, we're going to roll ourselves up into standing, one vertebra at a time, before coming into our mountain pose. Ground down through the soles of the feet and bring the palms open next to you. Can you send the breath from the crown of the head down the spine, all the way to the soles of the feet in contact with your mat? On your next inhale, circle sweep the arms up to touch. We're going to interlace the fingers, just keeping the index finger pointing up. And then we're moving into some lateral side bends, warming up through the oblique muscle group. And on your next movement, we're going to hold to one side for 10 seconds. Can you engage through the soles of the feet and draw the belly button to the spine? Here for 3, 2, and 1. Then we'll come up and do the same on the other side. Drawing belly button to spine, we're holding here for another 8. And then coming back to center. Nice work. Coming back to the top of your mat for one more half lift and forward fold before stepping the feet back into a high plank. Shift the body forward and lower down for chaturanga. We're then bringing the hands out to the side in alignment with the shoulders and the feet out to the corners of the mat for our striking cobra. Inhale, peel the spine up off the mat, one vertebra at a time. And then exhale, lowering down, using your own natural breath rhythm for this movement. Nice work, guys. Last one here. Bring the hips to the rib cage and pushing up as we inhale for our cobra. We're just going to hold here for 2 breaths, opening through the chest. Before exhale, tuck the toes, push the hips up and back, downward face dog. From here, pedaling out the feet, we're here for 3 breaths. From here, bring the eye gaze to the top of the mat and jump the feet between the palms. Inhale, lift to half lift. Exhale, forward fold. We're going to do 2 more of those. Inhale, half lift, flatten the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Last one, elongate through the crown of the head. And exhale, forward fold. Then we're going to tuck the tailbone and roll ourselves up to standing to find our mountain pose. Palms are open, grounding down through the soles of the feet, maybe closing down the eyes. Coming back to the breath. On your next exhale, trace the hands down, back to forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant the palms, jump or step the feet back to high plank. Exhale, lower chaturanga. On your next inhale, we're going to float the hands in front of us for our locust pose. And we're going to lift the arms, optional to also lift the legs. Eye gaze stays down towards the top of the mat. Can you squeeze your shoulder blades down from your ears and together? For 3, for 2, and 1. Stack the forearms, rest the forehead down, crocodile pose. We're here for 3 breaths. And can you notice the lower rib expanding against the mat, sending the breath all the way down to the diaphragm? On your next inhale, bring the palms next to the ribs and push up to cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes, push the hips up and back, downward face dog. We're here for 3 breaths. We're going to repeat this sequence 2 more times, and we're going to have slight variations for our chaturanga vinyasa. On your next inhale, bring the eye gaze to the top of the mat and jump the feet between the palms. we're going to do our 3 half lifts. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flatten the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Last inhale, elongate through the crown of the head. And exhale, forward fold before tucking the tailbone and rolling yourself up to standing, finding our mountain pose. Send the breath down to the soles of the feet. Take a moment to soften the shoulders and the neck. On your next exhale, we're going to trace the hands down the thighs for a forward fold and one more half lift on our inhale. Then we're going to plant the palms, jump the feet back to high plank, and exhale for chaturanga. Then we're going to move into our bow pose. So bring both feet up to the sky, grab on the outside of the ankles, and then using your feet, pull your body towards the back of the room. We're opening up through the chest and the heart center and lengthening through the throat chakra. One more breath here. And then slowly lowering the body down before releasing the feet last. Inhale, push back up to your baby cobra or full cobra. And exhale, tuck the toes, push the hips up and back, downward face dog. We're here for 3 breaths, and then we've got one more sequence to go. On your next inhale, bring the eye gaze to the top of the mat, jump the feet between the hands. We've got our 3 half lifts. Inhale, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, elongate, exhale, fold. Last one, inhale, and exhale, fold. Tuck the tailbone and roll yourself up, articulating the spine 1 vertebra at a time, before opening the palms, grounding through the feet for our mountain pose. We're here for 3 breaths. On your next exhale, trace the hands down the thighs and lift for one more half lift before planting the palms, stepping or jumping the feet back to high plank. Exhale, lower chaturanga. From here, we're moving into our swimming. This is a Pilates mobility exercise for the posterior oblique sling. Bring the arms in front of you, and then we're going to lift opposite arm and leg. The forehead is planted on the mat to start off with, and if that feels okay, then option is to lift the head up off the mat. What I want you to focus on is grounding down through the hip bones and the pubic bone and lifting the arm and leg at the exact same time. Really taking your time here. If you'd like a challenge, then you can hover the arms and legs for a fluttering motion. We'll do 6 more here. Then stack the forearms, rest the forehead down for crocodile pose. We're here for 3 breaths. Once again, sending the breath down towards the diaphragm. Can you notice the lower rib expanding against the mat? Inhale, push up into cobra. Exhale, downward face dog. Feel free to pause here if you need a break. We're about to move into our main sequence. On your next inhale, float the right leg up to 3-legged dog. Exhale, bend the knee for scorpion. You can stay in your scorpion or you can rotate over to the left side of the mat for our wild thing. My left leg is straight and my right heel is lifted. Open the chest. Rolling ourselves back to center, send the right leg high, and then we're going to step that right foot between the hands and lower the back knee for a low crescent lunge. Then straighten that front leg and send the hips back for a hamstring stretch. So we're moving from this low crescent lunge to this hamstring stretch. We've got 4 more here, and I encourage you to try and synchronize your breath with each movement. What we're doing here is mobilizing through the left hip flexor, but also through the inner hip on the right side. Last one here. And then as we come into our low crescent lunge, sweep the hands up, we're going to twist ourselves over to the left. You can place your hand on the lower back or on the thigh for a rotation. And then coming back to center before rotating to the right, and we'll do the same on the other side. Any problems with the lower back, feel free to just do a baby back bend holding onto the pelvis, otherwise grabbing onto that thigh. Now frame the hands around the front foot. We're going to lift the back knee and hover the fingertips as a challenge, low runner's lunge. Then plant the left hand down and open up extended side low lunge. We're going to do 3 threads. So as I exhale, I twist, inhale, I lift. Exhale, thread. Inhale, rotate with the chest. Last one, exhale. And inhale, reaching up. Nice work. Now frame the hands around the foot once again, and we're going to lift up into a high runner's lunge. For my high runner's lunge, my arms sweep up, and then we're going to shift the body weight forward for arrow pose. And then as we come back to our high runner's lunge, we're going to lower down with cactus arms, and then repeat that motion. Sweeping forward for arrow, and then as we exhale, cactus lunge. Inhale, arrow. Exhale, cactus lunge. Nice work. You've got 2 more here. And make sure to keep grounding down through the soles of the feet. We're trying to keep our body weight equal in the front and back thigh. And on your next inhale, we're going to open up into our Warrior 2. Checking alignment for Warrior 2, my back leg is straight, my foot is faced on the outside of the mat, and I've got almost a 90-degree bend in my front knee. My eye gaze is towards the middle finger, and I'm dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, reverse warrior. And exhale, extended warrior. You can rest the elbow on the thigh, or you can hover both arms. Then we're going to take the right hand on the inside of the right foot, just open up that hip a little bit more. Before coming into a challenge, this is our birds of paradise. Interlace the fingers behind the lower back, and then hop the left foot to the front of the mat. From here, you're going to slowly lift the right foot up, and the full extension is to straighten that leg out and point the toes. We're going to hold and balance here for 3, for 2, nice work. And then jump that left foot back, unbind yourself, and open back into our extended warrior. Frame the hands around the foot. We're going to jump that back foot a little bit more forward, straighten the front leg for extended triangle pose. You can hold onto the calf, or you can hover the fingertips, and your challenge is to bring the eye gaze up to the sky. Make sure to draw belly button to spine to protect the lower back. Now rotate the body to face forward, and we're going to hop that back foot out to the side and a little bit closer, keeping the front leg straight for pyramid pose. From here, we're moving into Warrior 3. Place all of your body weight on the right foot and float the arms and legs in a straight line. I'm interlacing the fingers, and I'm imagining that there is a piece of string pulling my body straight from the fingers down to the toes. Now we'll move into half moon. Place the right hand on the right corner of the mat, point the back toe, and then open the left palm up towards the sky. Your challenge is to bring the eye gaze up towards that floating palm. Amazing work. Then we're going to bring ourselves up to a single leg balance on that right foot for our tree pose. For tree pose, you can have the left foot on the inside of the thigh, or you can grab onto the big toe like I've done here and straighten the leg out towards the side. Ground down through the planted foot and slow down the breath. We're here for 3, for 2, and one slowly coming out of our tree pose. Can you step the left foot back into warrior two? Cartwheel the hands down, step the back foot into a high plank, and then we're going to lower down for chaturanga. Inhale cobra or upward face dog, and exhale, push the hips up and back, downward face dog. We're here for 3 breaths, and then we'll do the same on the other side. On your next inhale, float the left leg up to 3-legged dog. Exhale, bend the knee for scorpion. You can stay in your scorpion, or we can roll ourselves over to the right side of the mat for our wild thing. Here, my right leg is straight and my left heel is lifted. Open the chest. Coming back to center, send the left leg high. And then we're going to bring that left foot between the palms and lower the back knee for our low crescent lunge. Bring the hips back for a hamstring stretch, and then we're going to move through that motion of low crescent lunge to straightening that leg for a nice hamstring stretch. I've got about 4 more here. On your next inhale, sweep the hands up for low crescent lunge, and then we're going to rotate over to the right. You can place the hand on the pelvis for a baby back bend, or we can grab onto the thigh. Coming back to low crescent lunge, and then we'll rotate over towards the left, doing the same on the other side. Frame the hands around the foot, lift the back knee, and then hover the fingertips low runner's lunge. We're here for 3. For 2. Nice work. Bring the right hand down, and then we're going to open into our extended side low lunge for 3 threads. Exhale, twist. Inhale, lift. 2 more. Exhale, rotating with the chest. Inhale. Last one. Nice work. Then we're going to frame that front foot and lift ourselves into a high runner's lunge. Float the hands up, and then we're going to shift the body weight forward for arrow pose. Inhale, coming back to high lunge, and then lowering down for cactus. So keeping with this movement of arrow to cactus lunge. Nice. Inhale, arrow. Exhale, cactus lunge. Nice work. Now using your own breath rhythm, we've got 3 more rounds. On your next inhale, rotating open for our warrior 2. Once again, checking your alignment. 90 degrees through the front knee, straighten through the back leg. Inhale, reverse warrior. And exhale, extended warrior. Bring the left hand on the inside of the left foot and then rotate open in that hip. Option to stay here, or you can try the challenge of birds of paradise. Bring the hand under the thigh and behind the lower back, jump the right foot forward, and then we're going to lift up that left leg and straighten if you can. Holding for 3, for 2, and 1. Nice work. Lowering down the left foot, step the right foot back, and then undo your bind. Well done. Then we're going to jump that back foot a little bit forward and straighten the front leg for our extended triangle pose. Bring the chest towards the front foot. Then we're going to hop that back foot A little bit closer and towards the outside of the mat for our pyramid pose. My front leg is straight and I'm holding onto the calf, the ankle, or placing my fingertips on the floor. Shifting our body weight onto that left leg, we're going to move into our warrior three. My back foot is flexed, interlace the fingers, engaging from the fingertips down to the toes. Then bring that left hand down to the left corner of the mat for half moon. You can open the right hip, point the toe. An option or challenge is to bring the eye gaze up towards the sky. Hold for 3, for 2, and 1. Nice work. Now keep that balance on the left leg. We're going to bring ourselves up to single leg balance. Moving into our tree pose, take whatever variation works for you. You can bring the right foot on the inside of the thigh for normal tree pose, or we can grab onto the big toe and extend the leg out straight. Holding here for 3, for 2, and 1. You can slowly come out of your tree pose and step that right foot back to warrior 2. Before cartwheeling the hands down, stepping back to high plank, exhale lower chaturanga. Inhale, lift for cobra or upward face dog, and exhale, push the hips up and back, untuck the toes, downward face dog. Well done to you. We've got 3 breaths here just to reset the body. On your next inhale, roll yourself forward into high plank and lower the pelvis down for a cobra pose. Then we can gently bring our chest down onto the mat and then take the arms out in a T shape for our open wing. This is the best cool down stretch for the lower back. Also for the opening hip. Bring your right foot over the body to the left side of the mat and your eye gaze to the right. Make sure to rest your head down on the mat to prevent straining in the neck. While we're here, can you send the breath down towards the diaphragm or your lowest rib? Slowly coming back to center, and then we'll do the same on the other side. Take the left leg over to the right side of the mat and your eye gaze over to the left. Sending the breath down to the diaphragm. Rolling back to center, bring the hands to the chest, take the knees out wide for a wide-legged child's pose, and rest the forehead down on the mat. Take 2 deep breaths into the diaphragm. Then we're coming into a second child's pose variation. I'm going to rest the forehead down, bring the knees to touch, and then the hands will go behind you, resting by your side. Restorative child's pose. Rotating your head to the other side if it was resting on an angle. Slowly making our way out of our child's pose, we're going to crawl ourselves to the center of the mat for our camel. Now I have a few options for camel today depending on your lumbar spine ability. First one is placing the hands on the back of the pelvis and doing a baby back bend. This is more of a stabilization exercise. If you want a little bit more extension, then you can place one hand on the ankle and the other hand floats behind the body. If you want the full extension of camel pose, bring one hand on either side of the ankle and then open the chest up towards the sky. We are here for 3, for 2, and 1, coming back down into our low kneel. Nice work. We're going to make our way into a seated position with our legs extended. This is a classic stretch, seated forward fold. Bring the hands down as far towards the feet as you can. It should be slightly uncomfortable, but not painful. Bring the forehead down towards the thighs. Option to take the head side to side to stretch throughout the lateral neck muscles. From here, we're going to make our way down onto our back, preparing for our plow pose. If you have any strain in the neck muscles, feel free to skip this one. But if it feels all right with you, we're going to hitch the hips up and place the hands under the pelvis for a little inverted shoulder stand. And I want you to just play around with the body weight of the legs, floating them around, before eventually, maybe one day, the big toes will be able to touch the mat behind you. If you are here already and you want a further challenge, then you can grab onto the big toes and straighten throughout the legs. If you don't get here today, it's totally normal and fine. It took me a while to get into this position. We're also not going to stay in this position for too long because it is quite a lot of loading on the neck and the back. Slowly bring your hands back towards the pelvis to support you. Bend the knees and then slowly roll yourself onto your back. And we're just going to take a few moments here for the spine to reset. Now this one is one of my favorite restorative poses. It's called Banana Asana. You're going to take your hips over to the left side of the mat and then take the feet over to the right corner of the mat as well as the hands. We're going to fold the leg over and we're creating this lovely lateral bend in the spine. So you should feel a nice opening throughout the side body, maybe throughout one of the hips. We've got 3 more breaths here. Slowly shuffle your body back to center, and then we'll take the hips over towards the right side of the mat and take the legs over to the left side as well as the arms. Sending your breath into the side body, seeing if we can expand that breathing towards the diaphragm. And then walking ourselves back to center, plant the feet for a glute bridge prep position. I'm interlacing the fingers behind the head, keeping the elbows wide and just stretching throughout the neck. Take whichever movements here feel right, but I just thought this would be a good opportunity to just open up throughout the rest of the neck. And then when you're done, we can rest the head down, preparing for our Shavasana. For Shavasana today, taking the feet out to the edge of my mat and knocking the knees in together. Bring your hands to a comfortable resting position. Today I've got one on my chest and one on my lower rib. If it feels comfortable, start to close down the eyes and really tune into the breath moving throughout the body. In through the nose, down the back of the throat, expanding through the chest, maybe reaching towards that lowest rib, and maybe even expanding through the top of the belly. And then imagining that same pathway, the air travels back out through the nose, rippling like a wave. Now we're going to conclude today's practice with 1 minute of silence, and I encourage you to tune into the sensations within the body, but also what sensations may be happening in the environment around you. Gently bringing some movement back to the fingers and toes. And coming into any stretches that your body would like to awaken itself. Sending some energizing breaths down into the lungs and blinking open the eyes. Slowly making your way into a comfortable seated position to close our practice this morning. And once you're here, just taking a moment to give gratitude to yourself and your body for showing up and honoring your health, and taking a moment to appreciate your body's ability to move, to breathe, and for all of those little physiological processes that your body does every single day that keeps us alive and allows us to do all of the things that bring us joy. Thank you so much for taking the time to practice with me wherever you are in the world, and for taking the time to honor your body this morning. If you have any feedback or questions, feel free to comment below or DM me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. See you next time.